Alright, I'm gonna tell you guys something. You know, I have a lot of opinions. I have a lot of viewpoints. I'd love to share them with all of you. But there's an issue. There's an issue in my head. There's so much I want to just talk about. And so I want to make this video to explain why it's hard for me to talk to this camera. Because it shouldn't be, but it is. So let's talk about why. To do so, I've gotta talk about myself and how my brain works. Okay, so when I'm talking to someone, anyone, whether there's two different things running through my mind. One, it's that I've gotta if there's someone I don't talk to normally, I'm spending most of my time just figuring out who they are and what kind of person they are. And I'll do that in different ways. I have different ways of just figuring people out, and I usually do it in a way that just screams me. Just a way that's fun, it's exciting. Very, very out there. I love meeting new people, but I love showing them just how crazy I am in the process. So the first step is to get to know them. So that's one of the ways, one of the things running through my head if I'm talking to someone. The second thing is if it's someone I know, someone I've spoken to numerous times before. I've got an idea of what the character is like, and I've got an idea of how they're gonna react. And to say something, don't ever. I'm not saying that there comes a point where I completely figure someone out. That's not true. I never completely figure someone out. But I can get a good idea of how they're gonna react to certain things I say, how I need to phrase things. So I'm constantly running through conversations. If I want to have a conversation with someone, or I know I'm going to have a conversation with someone, I run through. I just make a plan in my head, and I just run the conversation over and over and over again. Even though I have no clue what's actually going to be said, I just run the conversation. For conversations with my brothers, I don't need to do this. I don't need to plan conversations with my brothers ahead of time because we know each other so well that we know exactly what the response is going to be before we even start talking. Like, we know how the conversation is going to go. And when we disagree on something, we know what points to make to end the disagreement, and we also know if there's no point to make that is going to end the disagreement. To anyone who's been in my house when me and my brothers have had a conversation, you've probably been absolutely confused. And that's completely normal. Do not... It's completely normal. Me and my brothers go through conversations like that. We don't finish sentences. We don't finish thoughts. Back, forth, only what needs to be said, when in reality the conversation was like this long, but you only got like this much of it because we knew we would have to say one word to get a point across. And that's just because we've lived with each other for years. We've listened to each other. We understand how the other is going to react. So with my friends and people I know, I don't have the luxury of that amount of cohesion, so to speak. I have a little bit of an idea of how they're going to react, but in my opinion, it's always good to plan ahead of time, always good to prepare. So I'm constantly running through conversations that I'm going to have with someone. Just to see how just to try and come up with an idea of how a conversation would go this way, and then it's usually not the way I want it to go. So I was like, okay, well, let's change wording around. How's it gonna go this time? This time, this time, over and over and over again, until I come up with a conversation that I'm okay with. And that's not the conversation that's gonna happen. It's not. But it was a chance for me to work out what topics to avoid, what wording to avoid, and things like that. It's very helpful for me just in every single conversation I have. So, why is it so hard for me to talk to a camera about my opinion? It's fairly obvious. I can't run that many conversations in my head. Because it's not one person I'm talking to. It's the whole world. Literally. Anyone can watch this video. So, the idea of sharing, like the idea of having a conversation with someone where they're gonna understand my point without being offended when I have no idea who's gonna watch this. I can't. There isn't a person in the world that can run that many conversations. So what people do is most people just don't care. And I would do that. I'd love to just not care. But I have developed a world of people that watch over me like a hawk. Good for anything that I say wrong. And I'm constantly thinking about those people when I make these videos. I'm constantly thinking, is what I'm saying okay? And I get worried sometimes about how things I say are going to be taken, and I think a lot of that will change eventually. I think I'll get a lot more used to these kinds of videos. The main reason I'm making this one is because today I wanted to just tell stories of my life. And it's like, it's so much different telling a story to a person than to a camera. Because a story to a person, you have an idea of how they're going to react. And furthermore, they're not going to go tell the story to someone else. They're not necessarily going to know the people that are involved in the story. And so I made the video earlier, and I mentioned two people's names in the video. And I before I was gonna post it, I asked them if I could post a video where I mentioned their name. I wouldn't have just posted that without their permission. But I went back, and like after I had gotten that, they both wanted to see the video, and I planned it that way. I put it up on as unlisted. And I just went back and I watched the video, and I'm just thinking, and there are things that I say that could be taken the wrong way, and that's life. I understand that. I'm not. It was just, I didn't want to put any bad light on them. I want I want to be able to make videos without making anyone else's life worse. And furthermore, I'd love to talk about my life, but I don't think people need to hear about my life. I love telling stories about my life, like my greatest blunders, I call them. I've had a very adventurous life. I've had a fun life, and um, I've had a lot of hard times, and I'm sure there are people out there that want to hear my life story, but I think when I really sat down and thought about it, it's not for the internet. Um, if people want to hear my life story, they can ask me in person. I'll sit down with them. I'll tell them. I'll tell them everything, every every little detail. I might spare a few details, but um, I love talking about my life. So I felt bad, and so I want my friends to be assured that I'm not gonna post a video that's gonna in any way impact their life in a negative way. Um, I want them to feel safe in that fact. So um, as much as my life, in my opinion, is very interesting, and I'd love to just tell the world what has happened to me, I don't think the world needs to know. So I've got to come up with a video series I can do, kind of like, I like the vlog, and I'm gonna do that when I'm in college. When I'm home, it's just awkward. So I want to come up with a video series I can do that's fun, that's interesting, where I get to share stories from my life, not necessarily telling my life story, but sharing stories from my life. I'm just trying to come up with something. Um, I have a gaming channel where I post gaming videos, and I quite enjoy that. I'm sure I'll come up with something. Um, but if you guys have any ideas, anything you would like to see me do, um, that'd be great. So yeah, enjoy your day. God bless your day, and thank you for watching.